Now, Nigeria's organized private sector is calling for a comprehensive audit of the country's central bank forex backlog payment, stressing that some commercial banks are yet to honor FX requests, which have lingered over an extended period. Emmanuel Onasami, the lead partner at Cardinal Professional Services, joins me now to discuss the impact of this and looking at tax revenue and business growth here in Nigeria. Mr. Onasami, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Let's talk about the development here. We've heard from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the cleared FX backlog over $7 billion. We've also heard feedback from the aviation side of things as well now. And we're also hearing from organized private sector where a comprehensive audit of the CBN's payment should be done, especially for the fact that some commercial banks are yet to honor their FX requests. Let's talk about the overview, your reading of what's playing out.
Okay, the CBN effort definitely has to be commended, you understand. And if the CBN has put out a communication that they've cleared up to that, whosoever have not received such, clearing benefit, you understand, has the right to also come out to the public to say that, you are yet to settle my obligation. I believe that audit and reconciliation exercise will help us to put things, in proper perspective. But, in looking at it from a broader view, I think the CBN, in their bid to manage the inflation within the economy and the fluctuation with the forex, I think one of the things they need to pay attention to is how to ensure economic stability, because it stands as a priority at the moment that we find ourselves. We've experienced a bit of economic instability with the fluctuations week in, week out, that makes doing business very, very unpredictable and difficult for businesses. It's not only for existing business, even potential investors that wants to come into your environment. In the situation of economic instability, your environment will never be attractive. So the CBN needs to prioritize economic stability, not necessarily, having a very aggressive, push down on the naira and then the next week it goes up again. We need to focus on sustaining stability for a period so that investors and the existing business can plan to do business reliably.
And talking about the focus here now, for a country like ours, which is heavily dollarized as well now, hedging against this volatility is also important, and that's why we are seeing businesses also trying to revisit how do we better manage these situations. Talking about the present impact we've seen in terms of the fluctuations, we've seen full-year earnings for listed companies on the NGX, and it's even a bigger pinch for those that the moms and pops and all of across the business spectrum. But for you now, let's talk about how do we also have a better understanding of how this impacts our tax revenue going forward, because when businesses are recording this level of losses, how does this trickle down to whether or not we can have that revenue pool?
Okay, let me start. I will get to tax, but let me first say this, that the impact of the fluctuation of forex has practically impacted and affected every factor of business profitability. I will start from revenue, looking at businesses that are operating in the essential sector, they are able to pass down the additional cost because the market doesn't have option that to buy it. They are essential products. But for those that are not operating in the non-essentials, they've not been able to pass on the additional cost. So their revenue is a bit dipped. Volume has decreased, and they are also unable to increase prices because they are non-essential. Look at the cost of production. Nigeria is largely import dependent. The more you import, forex is going up and down, impacting your cost and all that. That has significant, impact on the profitability. Our tax system, the corporate income tax, is based on the profitability of businesses. Look at the numbers that MBS churn out, recently about Q4. You can see that the corporate income tax in Q4 dipped by about 35% quarter on quarter. That's signaling to you that, the impact of the fluctuation of forex, we are just experiencing it now in the tax returns. It typically takes like a period of 6 months after the year end before the government will begin to experience it. The ones that were experienced in Q4 are largely maybe the performance of businesses closing 2022. You understand where the fluctuation actually started. So we expect to see more deep in corporate income tax, no revenue going forward, because the fluctuations and the devaluation further progress in the course of the year, and many businesses have now realized the loss. Looking at the companies on the NGS, look at the Nestle result, you can see that, you know, the bulk of what was responsible for the humongous loss that was reported was actually forex losses.
Yeah, and last, now wrapping up the conversation, we've seen the gradual rebound in the Naira, especially at the official window. As of last week, closed at about 1,400 benchmark, away from the highs of 1,600, 1,500. Do you think we can actually consolidate on this? And how quickly do you think we can also have a better rate for the country, especially on the back of concerns which are still rife? How much do we earn when we're looking at how much comes in from our export receipts and a whole lot more, and whether or not these are strong pillars to hold on to?
Yeah, I would say that this responsibility is not that of the CBNs alone. You understand? The government needs to be holistic in their approach, you know, of diversifying the economy so that our export earning can grow.
But it's quite cliche to say to diversify an already diversified economy.
No, not a cliche. You know, you need to be very, very, you know, deliberate and aggressive about a policy direction that you want to pursue. Look at the agricultural sector. How much forest earning have we been able to report from it? Look at the MBS data. No, that does not speak to the fact that, you know, there's a deliberate focus on that particular sector. But having said that, you know, give kudos to CBN, the effort in the, based on the last decision of the MPC. You know, you realize that there was an aggressive move raising the interest rate by 400 basis points last MPC, you know, and that is a clear battle for FPI. You understand? Look at Egypt. Egypt raised it by almost, is it 600 basis points or 800 basis points? No. So there is a clear battle for foreign portfolio investment, and you know, if you can get into environment, you can get it. You know, basically, the CBN has been putting on measures to see to it that we get inflows, but I think they should focus more on stability rather than just, you know, fluctuations.
Well, we'll definitely see how things pan out at the announcement. The deliberations have already started today. An announcement will come through tomorrow. Then we'll know, looking at near-term impact and the bigger impact as a whole. But we'll leave the conversation here for now. Emmanuel, thank you so much for speaking with us. That was Emmanuel Onasami, the lead partner at Cardinal Professional Services.